Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the COC Quick Podcast. We have our new lead pastor, Pastor Jamil King. Just want to check in with Pastor Jamil. This is virtually going into his second week into pastorship. And so the question was, Pastor Jamil, how does it feel now to be the lead pastor at Christian Outreach Center, coming behind our founding pastors, Pastor Johnny and Pastor Rose King? What does it feel like now being the lead pastor?
Well, I can say this. I believe it's an honor, first of all, to take on an assignment like this. And I'm humbled. I'm excited. And it feels good. You know, my dad, I know he prepared me for such a time as this. And it's his legacy. You know, he always did love people, had a love for people, had a love for just seeing people grow, families grow. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to be a part of it. And being in a lead position is something that's really a responsibility. You know, the older you get, the more respect you have for people, the more respect you have for life, the more respect you have for God. And so I just consider it really an honor. And I look forward to really building an incredible resume. You know, I really want to serve people. And I just want to give back to the community. And more than anything, you know, we got to get people saved. You know, it hurts me to see people die and go to hell. So that's the ultimate goal, is really to get people saved and born again. So I just consider it an honor. And, you know, I love my mom so much. It's an honor when someone actually passes the baton and you actually get to stay alive to see it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's an honor, man. I'm just excited about what God has for COC.
Wow. Did you see yourself coming out of Rhema Bible College? Did you see yourself like pastoring then? Did you actually see yourself doing what you're doing right now?
You know, really, I didn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't. I went through a lot of changes, went through a lot of different transitions. I didn't really understand what God was doing with me at that time, but I just had so much to learn. And even now, I have a lot to learn. But back then, I think I was just more of in survival mode. You know, my father was sick at that time. He started dealing with things when I was 13: mental health, blood pressure situations, hypertension, diabetes, bipolar disorder, a lot of things he was dealing with. So my mind at that time was really kind of distracted. I was excited about God, but I really wasn't focusing a lot on the future. So no, I didn't really see it, man. I saw some of it, but I didn't really see it to this magnitude. I didn't really know that I was called to be a visionary and to take on the legacy. I didn't really understand the weight and the responsibility at that time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's real powerful. That's real. And guess what? It's almost like you can't, like, either you is or you ain't. That's like this. Either you is or you ain't. So my question is this. So okay, good. So another question is leading to that. Did anything feel different the next day? That's what people want to know. The next day, anything feel different? Like, you know, you get in that position like the next morning. What did it feel like the next morning? Like we want to be nosy, so we poke it. Did it feel different the next morning, waking up?
I was looking to see how it would feel, and it really didn't, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, it really didn't feel different. I think Pastor Johnny Rose laid such an incredible foundation. I just woke up with a sense of urgency and excitement, and man, I'm gonna be honest, I'm just so thankful for the longevity of just consistency that's been at Christian Outreach Center, and just the people that we have. It feels kind of the same for me. But I guess the excitement is just to see what's going to transpire. I think I'm more excited about the future of what's really going to transpire, because, you know, we're building really a love and kindness and community culture.
Yeah.
So what really excites me is the future, but it really didn't feel different for me. I just think it's more of a sense of excitement and urgency for the future.
Do you think your kids saw you differently the next day too? Your kids, we want to know, like, did your kids thinking, did they treat you nicer the next day? Were they sweet kids? But like,
well,
yeah, you actually the lead pastor now. Did they say that?
Excited. You know, they were excited. Everyone's more excited, I think, about just the shift, the change, and the transition. And then, you know, they really didn't treat me differently. But I can say this: they really were excited for me. They know I have a love for people. And, we really do want to see some incredible things take place. You know, there are a lot of pastors that are already out there that's doing a good job. So I'm going to glean and learn from the ones that are really effective. And so we just want to create a servant leader culture in our church where we serve one another. It's not a person that's more important than anyone else. No big eyes, no little U's, but everybody's created equal in God's eyes. And we want to bring what's in heaven, we want to bring it on earth and create this dynamics of love, kindness, and community. So I'm just excited. I'm really excited about the future.
Wow, that sounds like culture change.
Most definitely.
Like like when we talk about culture change, we talk about KFC, Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah,
KFC was good, but Chick-fil-A is just everything is moving. You can see it, just kindness, the love, the genuineness, and all that. So, I love that you said that. So again, that bleeded over to culture. Do you see? Let me ask you a question. Do you have any fear? I know, word of faith. We teach faith, but is there any fear? Like, someone hands you this weighty baton in the spirit, and you have to, do you have any fear?
No, I really don't even have any fear. I think I've made so many mistakes in the past that really there's no room for fear anymore. I mean, I've been through some things that I've never talked about. And some of the mistakes that I went through was because of my own stupidity. And just a lot of it was lack of maturity. And so when you go through so much, man, sometimes you really don't even know what fear feels like. For me, I guess it's more of the exploration of innovation, entering into new depths of thought, entering into new ideas and concepts that go against the grain. I've been in rooms with hundreds of leaders.
Right.
When everyone's thinking one way and you think different, I guess that sometimes makes you feel like, wow, I'm called to do something really different, because I don't think that we're better than anyone. I just think sometimes we have to embrace our customization of how we think. And I think that's what makes people unique, is people have a different way of thinking. Kobe Bryant brought something different to the table. Tiger Woods brought something different. Shaquille O'Neal, some of these athletes that I'm just using athletes as an example. They all have their uniqueness, not because they're better than each other, but because they've embraced their own uniqueness.
Right.
So I guess it's not really fear for me. It's just knowing that I'm a 360 thinker. I'm a 360 leader, and I have a lot of ideas and concepts that are diverse. And so just embracing that and not rushing into it, but being patient enough to realize you need people to bring to pass the ideas and the visions and the goals that you have. And so I'm just excited about the diversity of gifts that I have. And I know that our people have the Christian Outreach Center. There's some phenomenal people. So I'm excited about what God has for us.
So 2 questions I'm going to ask you out of that. First one is, what is a 360 leader anyway? I've heard you mention that numerous times, 360 leader, but what does a 360 leader mean to you?
Well, to me, a 360 leader is a person that embraces a full scope, number one, of their own identity. And when you embrace your own identity, you've just been introduced to different perspectives. I've been introduced to prayer. I've been introduced to church culture. I've been introduced to the entrepreneurship world. I've been introduced to winning souls. I've been introduced to so many different spectrums that I love them all. I embrace it all. I embrace the full counsel of the word. But also, too, once you've had time to process your own life and you've been able to conquer things in your own life, it gives you a sense of perspective. And so now for me, a 360 leader is a person of influence that's able to embrace all perspectives. And so it's kind of like being a general practitioner where you're working with diverse people. And I do specialize in certain areas, but I just see the whole spectrum. I mean, I can be talking to a man that's a plumber, and I can see value in him. I can be talking to a school teacher. I can be talking to a multimillionaire. I can be talking to a person on the street. I can be talking to a homeless person. And I've always been wired like this. I just didn't know what I was at that particular time. But a 360 leader is a person that can really embrace diverse perspectives without being intimidated. So if I'm around a person that's more successful than me, around a person that's poor, if I'm around a person that doesn't have anything, it doesn't matter to me. I'm able to see greatness within that person. And that's kind of how I function as a 360 leader. Right. So I'm able to put on different hats depending on the person I'm dealing with and the environment I'm in. So that's what I would consider a 360 leader, is a person that has taken time to process their own identity, that knows who they are, and they can deal with people from a different perspective. You're not just putting people in a box, but you're able to understand different cultures, understand different personalities, and you're bringing solutions to the table. So I'm excited about that. That's who I am.
That's who you are. You know what? That's good that you said that's who you are. I know one of the things that you talked in is going to go with what you just said was in the 360. Like one of your hearts that I've seen is, you always like to bring out the best in people, and I always talk about this earth and this treasure in earthen vessels.
Yes.
I think one of the beautiful things is going to be able to see you unpack all of this treasure that God has given you in God's people, and see you unpack everybody gifts, everybody talents, reach inside and pull everybody gifts or talents out. Either it's business, either it's ministry, either it's family, whatever everybody gifts is. I can see you pulling it out. So I love when you actually said that. My next question is going to be bleed over to that. So that second question was, how do you pull back the stallions? Meaning, what does that mean? So the 360 leader has ideas, concepts. You have track record of getting things done. You had a lot of things that you've done in business. You have things you've done in ministry. How does a 360 leader pull back the horses and say, okay, I'm gonna do this one. Okay, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do this. How do you function, or how do you make a decision what you wanna implement and what you don't want to implement going forward? Since you just got started,
Mm-hmm.
like how do you go about making those decisions? People want to know, how do you go about making those decisions?
Well, that's a real good question. Really, I'm not in a rush to do anything. Being in business, doing ministry for over 25 years, I've learned the value of not being impulsive. So that's number one. Anytime you sense that sense of anxiety or impulse come over you, then a lot of times I step back and I don't do anything. Because first of all, I'm not going to operate in anxiety or impulse. But to answer your question, the Bible talks about in the multitude of counsel, there's wisdom. And so one of the things that we're doing now is we're creating a team culture that's able to help me balance my ideas and my thoughts with different people.
Yes.
Sometimes I think we are used to doing everything on our own, like a man on an island by himself.
Yeah.
And that's not going to get the results in the culture that we're looking to produce. So to answer your question, when you have all these different ideas, you have to listen to the Holy Spirit. You have to pray. You have to meditate. I'm real big on meditation. You know that I talk about that a lot.
Yep.
And that just simply means I'm meditating in the Word, but I'm also meditating on myself, self-reflecting on my thoughts, self-reflecting on my ideas, just to make sure those ideas are valuable. And then I think the system and the process is to bring it to people that you trust, because I know sometimes that our ideas and our concepts aren't the best ideas. Just because you're a leader doesn't mean that your ideas are better for the environment. So I think a lot of times we have to submit our ideas not only to God, but submit our ideas to the people that we love and trust. And so to answer your question, when you have all these different ideas that are running through your mind, I just don't react anymore. The Bible says he that has no control of his own spirit is like a city that's broken down without walls. And so now I entrust the people around me before I make major decisions, and we sit down and we talk about it. So that way we can get perspective on what would be the best idea and concept to move forward. And I think that's safety when you can operate in a sense of wisdom, where you're not just making sporadic decisions, but you trust and you value the people around you. And it brings balance, and it also gets everyone involved, and it creates this dynamics to where we all believe in one another. They don't just believe in me at our church, but I believe in them as well. So that creates a dynamic. I think that we want to see what we can produce in the future with that type of team camaraderie.
Oh, that's powerful. I love that. So I know that people are just maybe one of the questions is, so again, going back to the first point. So we talked about the 360 leader. We talked about how do you pull the horses back. We talked about, again, this is just your first and getting started. How does that feel? Do you feel different now when you're witnessing and talking to people, and you're like ministering to people out in the street? Do you feel different being the lead pastor? Does it feel different than saying I'm the associate pastor, I'm the assistant pastor? Does it feel different as you minister to people outside the four walls?
Well, I told you before, I mean, I had an experience when I took on this particular mantle where I felt the anointing. I felt something different, like a calling, like a burden, not something that anyone wouldn't be used to. When you're called to do something, when you desire to do something, you can feel the calling. But really, in a sense, I feel the same. I think the biggest thing is people's perception of you changes. I think that's the biggest thing, because I'm always in touch with my own identity. I don't need a title to make me who I am. I mean, I already believe in myself. I believe in the God in me. And so when I wear a title, I think the title more is for people. I think it's more of the perception that people have of what type of position you have. But I think more than anything, that a title should never identify us. I think we should already know who we are. And I have a resume that I don't really talk about. I've done a lot of things in secret. and I failed in secret, but I've won some pretty incredible battles in secret too. So my identity and my confidence comes not so much from my title, but who I am and what I've done. It gives me confidence, and then the God I serve gives me confidence as well. So when I look at people now, I just see potential, and I think being a senior pastor, I think the thing that it does, the dynamics it creates is, the season I'm in now is people know that I'm the one that's making decisions, and I think that creates a different perception amongst people. When I was an assistant pastor, I enjoyed doing that, and for so long I was behind the scenes, and I was winning behind the scenes, and I was also learning behind the scenes as well. And we met with, and we met with Roland Parrish when we were endeavoring to make a decision on our property. Roland Parrish at that time, I think he had over 28 franchise McDonald's. He may have a little bit more than that. And I met with Walmart, their division. We were trying to do a 50 to 100-year ground lease.
Okay.
And remember what we were trying to do, and I have never told anybody this, but we were trying to create generational wealth for the members.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a real interesting learning experience. They did a feasibility study on the land, and they didn't consider it a prime location. I was really discouraged at that time, and this is why I was an assistant pastor.
Okay.
But God was faithful. We just prayed, and the board, we all came together, and that particular charter school came into play to where they purchased the land. They had, at that time, I think they had about 18 different locations. Mm-hmm. And we were behind over $350,000 in back taxes.
Okay.
We had like a 6-year permit. We had 2 different permits when we were building. So these are the type of problems that I had to solve. I had to solve some of these problems, man. And I mean, you're not going live and you're not really showboating and talking about all the things that you're doing. But I was stressed out, man. I didn't know what we were going to do. Right. So when I showed up in that situation, it gave me confidence. And so, when you operate in secret and you win in secret, the Bible says that the Lord will reward you publicly. So I look forward to seeing what God's going to do in our public lives, not just our private lives at Christian African.
Right. I love that. And you mentioned about making that decision. So one of my favorite books that everybody know is 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Check that out. We're going to talk about that more in the future. Not right now. We're going to talk about it. 21 Irrefutable Laws. So that's by that's by John Maxwell. So that's one of my favorite books.
And I want to say this too. I want to say this to you, Kerry. I appreciate you, man. You've always been a wonderful person.
Yes,
a wonderful friend, a wonderful leader. Yes, and I see greatness in you. I really do. And you do a lot of things that you don't talk about. And I respect your humility. I've learned a lot from you. And I just thank God for the connection that we have. And the best is yet to come for you. If I succeed, you succeed. If you succeed, I succeed. And that's kind of how I see it. And we're going to do the best that we can to help each other win. So I love you as a brother, love you as a friend, and I love you as a leader as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the team effort. And I know it's one thing you talked about is making everything a team. So we all can use our gifts and talents to help one another, pray for one another, encourage one another. So again, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for those words. And again, we just wanted to give people a little insight on Pastor Jamil becoming the lead pastor. What does it feel like for their first week? So we just wanted to give you a little insight. We'll come back with some more content later on as he get going. And so if you guys have any questions, you guys can put it in any questions for the next time. And we're going to keep it rolling for COC as the legacy lives on. And again, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
I love you guys. Take it easy.
Good week. Appreciate you guys.